part of this tutorial is to talk about conditional logic. So if you're in programming, you know that there is a concept which is called if and else, right? Maybe if some condition applies, you want to do something, and if not, you want to do something else. And that's what we have, these two things, yellow or blue or cat or dog, to illustrate. So let's do what we always do. We go back to the root, we create a new module, and we call this module conditional logic. In conditional logic, we'll start by creating the test called yellow or blue. And we put the URL yellow or blue. As you can see, I'm using camel case, which is kind of initial letters are uppercase. This game is very simple, almost silly. You click generate color, and depending what it says here, yellow, you should hit the yellow button. And if you hit the blue button, it's going to tell you try again. This is the wrong button to press. So what we want to do is we're going to create a test that, based on what is being generated here, we click one or the other button. Before we do this, let's take a step back. When is it that you want to do this? Well, very often it's very important that your test has tons of reuse. And if you create all the tests on I click here, then this should happen, then I click here, then you get very specialized tests. Sometimes you need to do things that are a little bit unpredictable. For instance, let's say you want to click this pagination until this condition is so, or delete this item until there are no more items. This is when you want to use kind of conditional logic. So with that in mind, let's start recording our yellow and blue, or blue. The way we do it is very simple. We will start by clicking generate color, and then I'm going to create a validation on that color here saying yellow. Then I'm going to hit the yellow button, and then I'm going to hit the blue button. And the reason why I'm doing that is kind of, I want to catch all the cases. Then in order to handle kind of an if condition in Boozang, you use a group. A group is something that you can use for a lot of things, to create loops, to create conditions, or even to kind of group actions in a form. And we're going to see that later, but we're going to start with the most simple, the if-else condition. So what I'm going to do is, I'm basically going to select these two that are connected, the validation yellow and the clicking of the yellow button, and I'm going to click on this new group action. Here I'm going to say is yellow, which is a good convention to say kind of this is a conditional, and I'm going to say as if group. And then I'm going to have a validation type, but because I already had the validation, I'm going to not insert any validation, and I'm just going to go ahead and do this, okay? What you see is that we have a validation here first saying, hey, is it yellow? So what do we want to do here? Well, what we want to do is it will now go into the group and exercise all these actions. So what we want to do is, if this is false, we want to exit the group. Okay? So let's say if this is failed, instead of breaking current test, so again, let me show you. You hit this little condition here. And there's a lot of complexity in this. You can send data, you can do many different things. But what we simply want to do is say, instead of breaking this test, we're just going to break the group. And we're going to say, this is normal, just report warning. Don't report any error. So we're going to try this first and say, hey, is this working? So let's play. So you see it was working well because it was yellow and it clicked the yellow, but then it clicked the blue again. We don't want to do that. So we want to put this in a group as well. So we're going to do new group action, and we're going to say this is blue. And we're going to say that this is an else group. that this is the else condition for this first group. Meaning, if this group says, hey, break group, it's going to use the else group instead. So let's see if this works now. So what we have two potential outcomes, right? One is yellow, we should have success. And now we want to play this until we get blue, and we also get success. And as you can see, it jumped out of the group and it hit the blue button instead. So I think that's good, except that the blue element, you see that it caught up that little success message. So we're going to go into the element path and we're going to take that away to make sure that this is working, okay? And this is something you have to do. Boozang is often very good at determining the element path, but sometimes it catches something in the screen that you don't want to have. You simply just have to remove it. So now we need to prove that it's also working for blue. So let's just play this until we hit the blue condition. And there we are. So what we've proven now is they've created a simple if-else condition for two different states of the application.